Omaha, Papillion, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock, and I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with 3 service centers to help you out with your computer needs whenever you might need that help. The original service center in Lincoln is located just south of Pine Lake on 14th Street. In Omaha, 168th and Burke, across the street from the Village Point Mall. Des Moines, coming soon. And, of course, Papillion, 84th and Highway 370. Today's number to join us live on the program is 888-250-2091. We are also broadcasting live on Facebook despite a comedy of errors this morning. Facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. So today I tried to bring in a wire because the last couple of weeks we've had some issues with audio clipping, bad audio sound, video chopping in and out. So I grabbed this wire. I'm supposed to have a port in the studio that works. It doesn't work. Nothing's working there. I go to open up Google Chrome because the thing is, guys, I love Firefox, but every developer everywhere codes their stuff to work with Google Chrome. So Google Chrome gives you the best, most error-free possible experience if you're in a situation where little tiny things matter. And with the video quality for the show, little tiny things matter. So I use Chrome specifically. The only thing I use it for is to broadcast. And of course, all of a sudden this morning, for reasons that I have no idea why, Facebook, the new Facebook Composer tool, which is what you have to use to do a live broadcast now, doesn't work with the current version of Google Chrome. Install the beta version or use Firefox. So all right, I guess I'm using Firefox. So let me know if the audio sounds good if you're listening on Facebook this morning. 888-250-2091. Last week, if you missed the show, it's definitely one you want to check out on our website or our Facebook page. You can go over to SchrockInnovations.com, click on Radio Show, or, of course, you can just scroll down on Facebook and watch the show in the After Schrock there as well. But last week, we launched a one-day celebration of the reopening of Nebraska's economy. We talked about the impacts of all this quarantine stuff on your health habits because we all wear these little watches and trackers and things now, so it gives us a lot of insight into how you're sleeping. Are you working out? What are you doing? Are you gaining weight? Things like that. And it was really interesting to see that America is actually doing better than our quarantine counterpart countries. So that was pretty cool to see. We also warned you about the new contact tracing functionality that's being added to the latest version of Apple's iOS that will automatically track who you've been within 6 feet of in case one or more of you becomes infected with COVID-19. That can make contact tracing a lot easier for whoever's job it is to isolate you. Yeah. So anyway, just a heads up on that one. Coming up on the show today, we have a hint, actually, a leak, if you will, about when this big Windows feature update is going to happen. Literally, I get at least one question a day from somebody on Facebook Messenger or in the shops or on the phones. When is this big update coming out? They don't tell us the date, but apparently they tell hardware developers what date they have to have all their drivers into Microsoft by to be included in the update. And so that gives us an idea of a window this month of when we think that's going to happen. So we're going to tell you what that update is and when it's coming out as far as our best knowledge at this time, according to leaked information, sources report and all that. Also, why is Microsoft suddenly recommending Google services? Microsoft, that makes the competing web browser Edge competes with Google Chrome. Microsoft that makes the competing search engine Bing that competes with Google. Microsoft who makes the competing advertising service that competes with Google AdWords suddenly decides they're going to recommend Google services. What's going on there? We're going to tell you what we think is happening at that. Also, if you haven't heard, because you guys stay up on all the latest hardware news, let me tell you what. I have a fun story for you on the program today about a gentleman who bought a computer from us, and and something went wrong with it. It turns out liquid was spilled in it is what we eventually figured out, but we weren't told that at the time. And so it was under warranty, so we replaced it for the gentleman, and we replaced it with a new computer that had a Ryzen processor. And he had never heard of Ryzen processors before, and that's what our current Gallant has, is a Ryzen processor. And he thought, he was upset. He thought we ripped him off. Well, let me tell you guys, there's some new numbers coming out. AMD is releasing their newest generation of Ryzen processors, and if you thought the Ryzen 3 chips were racehorses, wait until you see the Ryzen 4 processors. oh my gosh, if you have Intel stock, you should just dump it now because they're gonna get crushed. So we're gonna tell you what's going on there. Also, if you have a Samsung phone, and I try not to, or I try to avoid stories that are like, do you have an iPhone? Do you have an Android? So immediately half of your audience says no, and then they stop listening. So I try to avoid those stories. But if you have a Samsung phone, which is much more narrowed down niche, there was a major update that you need to have on your phone. If you haven't installed it yet, we're going to tell you about that, how to get it, why you need it. But for your security, it's definitely something you want to have, unless you want a bad guy to take control of your phone by sending it text messages, which is a real bad deal there. All right. Also, one of the things that I'm getting in the service center quite a bit, we see this on Asus laptops. We see this on HP laptops. We see this on Lenovo laptops. And that's because Asus makes the hardware that goes into each of those three laptops, or components of it anyway. So people using Zoom have reported to us sporadically that randomly in the middle of a video conference, the audio will mute, like the speakers will mute themselves, so you can't hear the conference attendees anymore, and your microphone will mute, so they can't hear you. And it can be a combination of that. The speakers will mute, and then you unmute the speakers, and you find out you try to talk at some point, and your microphone is muted. Why is this happening? I have one customer who emailed me, emailed the service center, and I happened to get a copy of that email and see. I knew that no one was going to respond after 8 o'clock, so I responded to myself just to make sure she got taken care of. But she's like, literally, I just bought this computer from you guys. I've had it in twice for the same problem. It's not compatible with Zoom. All right, so the first thing that we have to realize is that Zoom was not ready for prime time when this pandemic hit. There is a reason that every other provider out there is rushing to get their video product out into the public and in front of people, because people stopped using Skype because it was too difficult to use, and Zoom was very easy to use. You get a link in your email, you click the link, you install the little Zoom thing, and you join the meeting. Now, this is where it can get complicated. You can join a meeting without having a Zoom account. You can join a meeting, or you can create a meeting if you have a Zoom account. So some of us have created meetings, and some of us have just joined meetings. But a lot of us have installed the Zoom software, which then had malware tendencies, which caused a lot of people to say it wasn't safe to have installed on your computer. So a lot of people removed it from their computer only to reinstall it later with a newer updated version that didn't have the malware-like behavior in it. Then we found out it wasn't secure. So a lot of people removed it from their computers and then downloaded it again and reinstalled it when they came out with a new version that's now secure from point to point. Originally, you didn't need to have a password to have a meeting. Now you have to have a password to have a meeting, so everybody removed it. You see where I'm going with this. It has been a learning experience, if you will. If you have kids doing school classes over Zoom, you know what I'm talking about, where it works fine for one kid's session, then you end that session and you start the next kid's session, and Zoom freaks out, and you don't know why. It's because the software is garbage, guys. It is absolute garbage. Your computer works perfectly fine. It's the Zoom software that isn't working properly. But there are some things that we can do, because that's great to know. But when your job requires you to get on Zoom and you have to have a Zoom meeting, and you have one computer in the living room that works great on Zoom, and the new laptop you bought from Schrock for whatever reason doesn't work on Zoom, well, let me explain a few things. First of all, with a laptop, your speakers and your microphone are very close together. They are less than 12 inches apart. In radio, if I take my microphone and put it in front of a speaker, there's a reason when you listen to AM radio and a caller gets on, that the host says, please turn your radio down. Because in our ears, we get a nasty, squealing, squelching feedback, because your voice is going through your speaker into my headphones and back out my microphone, and it creates feedback. It's nasty. It's painful. You usually don't hear it on the air, but we as hosts hear it here in our headphones, and it's loud. So the same thing can happen in a Zoom meeting. You could disrupt the entire Zoom meeting for everybody because your laptop lid is angled down toward your speakers more than it should be. So rather than telling people, hey, silly person, make sure your laptop isn't half closed when you go on the Zoom meeting. Instead of doing that, what Zoom did is they installed a feature that automatically mutes your speakers or your microphone to kill feedback. Now, what happens, the reason it's random is because after a period of not talking for a long time, Zoom will automatically mute your microphone for you to prevent any kind of feedback from happening. Then when you start talking, if you've noticed, the first syllable or two that you say gets clipped off. You probably hear this when other people who haven't talked for a long time suddenly start talking in their Zoom meeting. The first couple syllables get clipped out because the Zoom software is turning the microphone back on. Okay, I see that. That's great. Now, what happens though if you have a Zoom meeting going and you also have the Zoom client going at the same time? That's the little Zoom program that you don't need to join a meeting, but you do need in order to host a meeting. Well, those two programs will fight over control of the microphone and or camera and the speakers. So it's possible that halfway through, when the Zoom meeting mutes the microphone, the Zoom program says, "Ooh, look, the microphone's available," and it takes the microphone. Then when it's time for you to talk, you attempt to unmute your microphone, and guess what? It won't unmute. Nobody can hear you. Same thing with your speakers. Your audio source gets changed. And so the long story short here, guys, is when you're going into a Zoom meeting, don't have the Zoom program, the Zoom app, open on the computer if you don't need to have it open, because it will claim the camera, the microphone, and the speakers if it can, and only one program at a time can have those speakers. This morning, I was trying to get Google Chrome up and running to do the show, and it didn't work. So I opened Firefox. Firefox said I can't access the camera, and I had like 14 seconds to figure out why, and I was freaking out. It's because I left Google Chrome open, and Google Chrome still had the camera. Only one program at a time can grab the camera or the microphone. So if you have problems with Zoom, the thing you need to do, number one, is make sure that if you're in a Zoom meeting, you do not have the Zoom app open as well. Number two, there are settings that you can change within the Zoom app. So before your meeting, go into the settings and turn off the features that predictively prevent feedback. Yes, there is a possibility that you might have feedback. I have turned mine off and have had several meetings, and I haven't had any feedback, and I haven't heard any feedback either. But this is not just happening on Asus computers. It's happening heavily on HP computers. It's happening on Lenovo computers. One of the people on our sales team has this problem with her Lenovo laptop. And so we had to turn off all these settings so that hers wouldn't. It works fine for her to do church services on Sunday because she's not talking. And apparently they can't hear her sing either. 888-250-2091. So a bit of helpful Zoom advice this morning for your home office. All right. So other stuff that's going on in the service center is, you guys know that we launched the celebration of the reopening of Nebraska's economy last week. And as a result, we had more than 300 new customers turn out in the service center to have preventative maintenance done on their computer. It was a phenomenal turnout. We posted a couple pictures on Facebook just so you could see like the number of computers that were coming in. The guys were working long hours, and pretty much every flat surface surface in the service center was being used to work on a computer. And this is we opened it up a few days early for Schrock customers to get in on the action so that you wouldn't have to come out on that Monday. We were trying to spread out the demand a little bit, even if it was just over a few days, to keep the turnaround times as low as possible. So the service centers, Lincoln has done a really good job of catching up. They have open bench spots available in Lincoln. Papillion is still in a small queue, but it's not bad at all. And the Omaha Service Center, I believe, has everything up on the bench, so they're not in queue anymore. So if you're still waiting on your computer, it should be wrapped up here pretty quickly. But it was an amazing thing overall. Weird thing though, we made the holiday special laptop and the holiday special desktop available for one day only as part of this sale. So those were available on Monday. We sold all 5 of the holiday special laptops that were available, and we sold none of the desktops. Go figure that. Laptops are hard to get right now. And so people jumped all over those laptops when they had the opportunity. Something else that's hard to get are printers. I want to let everybody know that if you're looking for a monitor, if you're looking for a printer or an adapter or a new computer, a few things have changed at Schrock as a result of the pandemic. Now, we're not making you stand outside in a line, and we're not making we're not mandating you wear a face mask when you come in. Obviously, our guys have been issued face masks, and if you want to wear a face mask when you come in, great. We're not gonna enforce the the mask policy kind of thing. That's just not good service. But what we will do is have all of the hardware that you need to build your home office in stock. So in the past, if you ordered a new computer from us, because they're all custom built, it was about a 14 business day lead time to get one built for you. Right now at Schrock Innovations, all computers, every type, are in stock. We try to keep 2 of each in each service center because we can usually replenish within a day if we need to, and the Papillion Service Center keeps a few extras to send out. The Intrepid laptop has been very popular lately. I know that one of my service centers is completely out of them right now, and we're transferring more from the Papillion shop because we can't build them fast enough this week. So if you need something like a printer, for example, I can't buy new ones right now, but I still have about 5 on hand. And so if you need a printer, we have printers. If you need a monitor, we have monitors. If you need a laptop or a desktop, we have computers in stock that you can take home with you same day so that you can make sure your home office gets up and running if it goes down, and you can continue to be productive and keep your job. 888-250-2091. Going to take a quick break here, but Dave, stay on the line. Your call, as well as why is Microsoft recommending Google services now? We're going to explain that one to you coming up next on Compute This.
Today's fragile computers need maintenance more than ever. Your computer needs a maintenance checkup every 6 months to last beyond its 18-month expected lifespan. Some people like desktops for their power and upgradability, but nothing rivals a laptop for computing on the go. But why should you have to sacrifice performance for portability? The innovators at Schrock want our customers to have it all, so we created a new kind of laptop, the solid-state laptop from Schrock Innovations. Solid-state laptops are built using the same frame and mainboards as regular laptops, but we've removed half of the moving parts while more than doubling the computer's speed. The result? Laptops that boot to Windows in 6 seconds or less, respond instantly to your commands, and can survive drops that put most laptops into the data recovery lab. Starting at only $499, solid-state laptops give you speed, reliability, durability, and performance for the same price most people pay for a cheap disposable laptop. The next time you're looking for a laptop, check out the solid-state laptops at SchrockInnovations.com or visit any of our service centers. Simple, solid, fast technology is what we do at Schrock. Compute This pro tip number 753. Have you ever wondered how the bad guys always seem to find a way into your computer? Gone are the good old days of email worms and I love you viruses. Nobody wants to steal your data anymore, or in many cases even your identity. Today's cyber criminals want to sell access to your computer or hold your data for ransom. The bad guys are exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to break into systems that are supposed to be hack-proof. These vulnerabilities are always newly discovered, and the criminals have a brief time to exploit them before they get patched. Antivirus and firewalls do not prevent these attacks, but you can minimize your computer's exposure by installing all security patches as quickly as possible. The average computer needs 12 patches a week. That's not including the ones that are automatically delivered to your computer. Boost your cybersecurity by staying on top of it manually, or use a patch installation program like Secure Updater to get your computer the patches it needs. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. If you're just joining the program for the first time today, I want to welcome you. Thanks for stopping by and giving us a listen. Hopefully we're entertaining and informative enough to keep you around for a little while. Schrock Innovations is a company that does all kinds of computer-related work. We build websites. We build artificial intelligence business systems. We handle email. We do computer repairs, new computers. We do visits on-site in your home. We also do visits via the Schrock Desk, a virtual service, which was literally made for the situation that we're in right now. Allows us to be as if we're right there with you working on the computer, but not. One of those services that we have, guys, is called the Safe Upgrade service. There's a big update coming out. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the program, but there's a big update coming from Microsoft, so I'd encourage you to go take a look at SchrockInnovations.com. Click on Shop and Specials if you haven't already done so, and pick up a copy of Safe Upgrade for each computer you'd like to have upgraded. The Microsoft update is free, but 20% of the time, it literally blows up the computer it installs on. The last update went across real nicely because it didn't really do much. This update is the big one that the last one laid the groundwork for. So make sure that we get this one installed properly, guys. It's really important, especially if you're counting on your computer to work from home. So we'll talk about that coming up on the program. Another freebie that we give away is called Drive Advisor. So again, if you're new to the program, Drive Advisor is spelled ER, Drive Advisor, because it's American, made in America. And you can get it for free at driveadvisor.com. Now, what Drive Advisor does is it monitors the health of your hard drive, because most hard drives don't just up and fail. They fail slowly over time. So Drive Advisor watches those hard drives, and if the hard drive starts reporting it's having issues, it's called a SMART warning. SMART is an acronym that stands for something you probably don't care about. And basically it tells you, hey, the hard drive didn't power up when it was supposed to, or didn't work the way it was supposed to. And if you get enough of those SMART warnings, it's really indicative of a hard drive beginning to have trouble. And so what Drive Advisor does is it reads those SMART status warnings that all of the major manufacturers currently suppress. So if you have an HP, if you have a Lenovo, if you have a Mac, Drive Advisor doesn't work on Mac, but they do the same thing. It's not a PC thing. Nobody wants you to know if your hard drive is failing, because hard drives take a long time to die, long enough for you to get out of warranty, you see. So even if your hard drive tests bad with Drive Advisor, a lot of times HP or Dell won't replace it because it's not bad enough yet. Another reason to do business with a local company that takes the reliability of their equipment seriously. If you have a Schrock computer and Drive Advisor tells you your hard drive is failing, we don't ask questions. We just replace it. If you're under warranty, we replace it under warranty. We clone your data over for you. We do all the things that all the big guys don't do, because we're a service business. We are customer service focused in a way that no one else is. At least, and then we strive for that. Now, Drive Advisor is free, but one of the new things that's going to be added to Drive Advisor soon, we're rolling it out to select people right now in a beta. You might notice a button appear in your Drive Advisor software that says check battery. If you have a laptop, that check battery button will show up, and you can click on it and it will tell you the health of your battery too. So yes, I know it's Drive Advisor, and yes, I know a battery is not a drive. So wouldn't it be Battery Advisor? It would be, but rather than make you install a whole nother program called Battery Advisor, we just rolled it together with Drive Advisor. Because batteries in laptops are a significant safety hazard. They can catch on fire, they can fail, they can short out your equipment. So if your battery is below 80% health, we call it a broken battery, and then we recommend you replace it. But how do you know that it's time to replace the battery unless someone tells you? So Drive Advisor, it'll send you an email if your hard drive is dying or your battery's going bad, and let you know that you need to take some action. So it's a pretty slick little program, and it's completely free. All right, numbers to join us on the program today, 888-250-2091. That's what Dave has done. Dave, welcome to the show. How can I help you on ComputeThis today?
Hey, how are you doing this morning?
Very good. How are you holding up?
Oh, I am doing great. You know, I bought both of your holiday specials this year.
Okay.
And the laptop, absolutely awesome, but that desktop is absolutely a killer stunner machine.
Oh, I
People
thought you were
missed out on that one.
I thought you were about to say, but that desktop's a real piece of junk. And I was like, uh-oh, here it
Oh,
comes.
no. Oh, no. It is a powerhouse screamer. Unlike anything I've ever had. My first computer was a Radio Shack color computer with 4K memory. And look where we are today. It's exciting.
Yeah.
But the reason why I called, on your website you have two different web cameras.
Yes.
You have the Wise camera, and then you have another camera that I saw recently got added.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, is the price difference worth making the jump to the higher price camera?
Great
I think
question.
I'll get the video quality out of both, but I'm concerned about the audio quality.
All right, great questions, Dave. So there are two cameras on the Schrock website. The first camera, I mentioned the things that are hard to get, like printers. You can't buy a printer. You can buy printers, but people want $200 for a used printer right now. So printers are hard to find. Monitors are hard to find. And webcams are darn near impossible to find. And so basically what we did at Schrock is there's a company named Wise that makes security cameras. So these are the cameras you'd put in a room that some people use them as baby monitors, but you put an app on your phone and hit the camera and then watch it remotely. And so they created an update for their camera, a firmware update, because they saw that that webcams were in shortage, and they know that their camera has a microphone built into it. It's not a very good quality microphone, and it is an HD camera. So why not create a firmware update that allows a person to use this camera as a webcam? Now, you have to hook it up with a different cord than comes in the box, and we provide that cord for it. So you hook it all up to the computer, we update the firmware, and voila, you have a webcam. Now, that camera has a little bit of a fisheye distortion to it because it is intended to be a security camera. So the lens on it is a little bit more wide angle. So what you'll see is it'll work fine as a webcam, or as a sitting right in front of it, you won't have a problem. But off to the side, you'll see like the background kind of distorts a little on the edges because it's fish-eyeing it a little bit. The audio quality is not great either because it was not intended to be a voice quality webcam. It will get the job done, but it's not great. The other camera that we have actually has stereo microphone input, and has the same 1080p lens, but this one has a longer depth of field, so the picture's a little bit crisper, and the audio is definitely better, but it's more of a standard webcam, and that's why it's more expensive right now. The cost for us to get those is so much higher than the Wyze security cams. Nobody's figured out that you can do this with a Wyze cam yet, so they're still widely available. The webcams, I literally can order them sometimes 2 per week, and that's all I can get.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for the call, Dave. I appreciate you taking the time here. And we got you in the drawing as well for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. 888-250-2091. Microsoft is recommending the Google Chrome App Store all of a sudden. You might remember before Microsoft said that it wasn't safe to download apps from someplace that wasn't the Microsoft Store. All of a sudden, Microsoft is playing nice with Google on the App Store, and it's scaring Google a little bit because the new Edge browser is actually faster than Google Chrome. It's built on the same technology that Google Chrome is. They're both built off of Chromium, but they took out all the spying junk that comes in Google Chrome. So it's faster. And now that it has access to the Chrome store, it has a real potential to eat into Chrome's user base. So that's a little bit scary for Google. So keep an eye on this one. Microsoft playing nice is a really smart move. Got to take a break here, guys. It's halftime. So get your potty breaks in, get your snacks, and we'll be back here for some more Compute This in just a second, and we'll tell you all about those new Ryzen processors coming out that are going to smoke Intel's world. If you don't have a Ryzen processor in your computer, you're going to want one, and we'll tell you why coming up next in Compute This.
Schrock Innovations can't teleport technicians to you, but online help is only a click away with the Schrock Desk. Subscribe today and get unlimited help whenever you need it. In 1798, Eli Whitney's Connecticut musket factory was the first business in North America to use replaceable parts in a firearm. Before Eli's factory, if your musket broke, you had to send it away to an expert gunsmith for repairs, or just toss it and buy a new musket. Technology manufacturing has come a long way since the 18th century, but you wouldn't know it by looking at today's big box store computers. Dell, HP, Sony, and other manufacturers continue to take away your freedom to upgrade and repair your computer by eliminating expansion and repair options. Some desktops are even powered by a tiny laptop adapter. Schrock Innovations believes in Eli Whitney's idea of interchangeable and replaceable components, and that's why our custom-built modular computers last longer and cost less to repair than computers you see at big box stores. Ask your friends and family how often they replace their box store computers, and they'll probably tell you every couple of years. And what do they do with the old machines? They just get thrown out like broken muskets. Imagine a place where your computer's problems can be fixed quickly and inexpensively. Imagine keeping your computer for 6 years or more. You are imagining the kind of computers we build every day at Schrock Innovations. Our modular systems last longer, perform faster, and cost less over the long term than anything you can buy at a big box store. While the talented technicians at Schrock Innovations can't make you a musket even if they tried, our commitment to the freedom offered by modular computers is the modern-day extension of Eli's innovative musket factory. We think Eli Whitney would be proud, and you can take pride in owning a small piece of American innovation. The modular computer from Schrock Innovations. Compute This pro tip number 187. Recently, you may have received a phone call from someone claiming to be from Microsoft or had a message pop up on your screen telling you that your computer was infected. Do not respond to these calls or messages. They're always a scam. Microsoft will never call you about your computer. Here's how the scam actually shakes out. You get the phone call that your computer's infected. The scammers hit you with some mumbo jumbo about an infected IP address. They'll ask your permission to connect and help you fix it. Once they're in your computer, they do a bunch of fake scans that detect a lot of problems that really aren't there. You see the scan results and figure, your computer's in trouble. Next, the scammers will demand up to $400 to clean up the computer and set you up with a lifetime protection. Don't fall for the scam. Keep good security software installed, like Endpoint and Secure Updater, so when things like this do happen, you know you are covered. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
News, I'm Karen McHugh. Dr. Anthony Fauci, one of the lead members of President Trump's COVID-19 task force, has placed himself in modified quarantine after being exposed to the virus.
The good news, he tested negative for the coronavirus, but we're told he is going to get his temperature taken daily just to be on the safe side. In a statement, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases says, quote, he is considered to be at relatively low risk based on the degree of his exposure.
Fox's Mark Meredith, both the president and vice president have tested negative for the disease. Elon Musk is threatening to move his company's factory and headquarters out of California. In a Saturday tweet, the Tesla CEO threatened to sue the state over coronavirus restrictions imposed on his operations by the state health department. Musk says he'll head to either Texas or Nevada. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies are on tap for your Mother's Day, but we will be staying chilly and staying breezy with those northwest gusts up to 30, even 35 miles per hour. High temperatures will top out in the mid-50s with a stray shower possible in western Iowa during the afternoon hours. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. Hope you had a good halftime there. Got your rest in because we got a lot to cover here. Special Schrock Innovations Compute This PSA. This Tuesday is Patch Tuesday. So you're going to get a whole bunch of updates to your computer on Tuesday, and on Wednesday your computer is going to ask you to reboot. This is not the big Microsoft update. That is not coming up until later in the month, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. Numbers to join us on the program today, 888-250-2091. Feel free to ask a question or make a comment, and we'll get you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. The situation with the update, the big May update from Microsoft, it's called a feature update as opposed to a security update. This is a feature update. Feature updates typically don't do anything for security. They add functionality to the computer. So the feature update that we're expecting to have this coming month, they don't tell you exactly when, but one of the things that we did see is that they gave hardware guys people who make keyboards and mice and things like that a heads up that they might need to have they're going to need to have any drivers in for the release by the end of the month here. May 26th through 28th is the window. That makes a lot of sense. That's a Tuesday to a Thursday. You typically don't see big software updates rolling out on a Monday or a Friday. So that makes sense, Tuesday through Thursday. It gives you a weekend to fix whatever goes wrong, or before the weekend anyway. You don't want to release on a Friday because then everybody goes home and it all breaks and nobody's there to fix it. You don't want to release it on a Monday because everything bad happens on a Monday, so why would you do that? So we're going to do it. Looks like the Tuesday, the 26th through the 28th will be the rollout time frame if our leak source is correct, which would mean it will put it in the last week of the month, which means you have a little bit of time left to pick up a safe upgrade if you haven't done so already. If you don't like to buy things on the website, it is a self-service product, so you will need a Schrock account at SchrockInnovations.com to download and use the software. But if you don't like buying things online, you can call into the service center and we will sell it to you over the phone and then add it to the, create a Schrock account for you, so that way when the time comes to do the update, you get the alert. Otherwise, you just don't get the alert and you're like, oh, what should I do? You can also wait and just bring your computer in When we say, hey, it's time to go, I will, of course, say it on Facebook as well. But you can just bring your computer in if you want, and we can do it in the service center for you if you're not the do-it-yourself type. So lots of ways that we can help over at Schrock Innovations if you're worried about this update taking your computer offline, which is a legit concern. 20% of the time in the past, that's exactly what has happened. All right, so so far on the program today, we've talked about Drive Advisor, a great little program to monitor the health of your hard drive that you can download for free at driveadvisor.com. We also talked about Google. Microsoft recommending the Google Chrome Store all of a sudden out of the kindness of their heart, not just for apps, but for great apps, like apps that are beyond good. They're great. You can get those at the Chrome Store. So that's a little bit of a change from Microsoft, so that was kind of interesting to see. The big one, though, is these Ryzen processors. Oh, my goodness. AMD announced the release of the 4th generation Ryzen processor series for laptops. They do the desktop ones separately, so this is just laptops. But these Ryzen 4th gen chips are 7 nanometer chips. Intel's still doing 14 nanometer chips. Now, that means nano nothing to a lot of people. So when I talk about the nanometer, that's the thickness of the chip. So 14 nanometers versus 7 nanometers. Obviously, 7 is half as thick as 14. The thinner the wafer is, the more stuff you can pack on it, because you can put more wafers on the chip. So if you have one that's half as thick, you can put twice as much computing power in it. That said, the Ryzen 4 chip doesn't blow Intel out of the water by double, which means there is some unlockable potential in these chips, which will mean there'll be a 4000X series coming out sometime after Intel responds and scrambles to get something out the door to make it at least look like they're trying to compete. Then AMD will best that by unlocking some hidden performance in the current chip, and then all of a sudden Intel stuff is just dead for the year. This has been going on now for 3 years, where AMD has been consistently beating Intel. The only area that Intel has maintained a foothold, a stronghold, is in server processors, because most network administrators are very stubborn people. It takes a lot of incentive to move them away from Intel, because they've been with Intel their entire careers. The second area is actually portable devices. AMD's chips just weren't competing as well with Intel stuff until the Ryzen chips came out. So a funny story, we had a guy who returned a laptop to us. He had an i5 Galant laptop that he bought last year, the 2019 model. Well, the 2020 model comes with a Ryzen processor instead of the i5. And so when we got his unit back in, and we were going to have to send it to Asus. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We know it's going to be months before we get it back. In the interest of customer service, we said, let's go ahead and just replace this unit for him with a brand new unit so he has a computer to work with. We'll send this one back to Asus on our own dime, and then when we get it back, we'll put it up as an open box item or something on the website, a refurb item that we can sell to somebody who's looking for a deal. We do that from time to time. Another great reason to check out that specials page at SchrockInnovations.com. We don't always announce it when we throw something cool up there, so you can just, if you browse by, you tend to get rewarded. So the guy takes the computer home, calls back, and is super upset. Demands to speak with me, so I give him a call back, and we spend a good half hour or 40 minutes on the phone talking like how many cores and how many threads. And I mean, literally, he thought we ripped him off by giving him a computer that was a lesser machine than what he would have had if he would have stayed with the i5. And literally everyone in the shop is beating our heads on the table because he got the upgrade of a lifetime. Not only that, we come to find out later, when we sent the laptop back to Asus, they sent it back to us with a picture of the discoloration on the underside of the motherboard. Apparently, liquid got spilled into the computer, and that was the cause of the actual failure. So it wasn't a defective product in the first place. The warranty doesn't cover that. So the fact that we replaced it at all for him with anything should have been a win, let alone to call back and complain about it. But yeah, it was one of those situations where the Ryzen chips, I know people haven't heard of, it's R-Y-Z-E-N, Ryzen. They haven't necessarily heard of them yet, but those have been all the chips that we started off using them in just the high-end computers, like the Holiday Special and the Venture. But now they're actually down into the Endeavor. You can get a Ryzen 3rd Gen Ryzen 3 in our Endeavor model for a very affordable price, and it literally blows any other office, home office, or even office work computer out of the water. It's an amazing chip. So if you don't have a Ryzen processor in your computer, next time you make a computer purchase, don't just blindly look for the Intel Inside sticker. Those AMD Ryzen chips can save you money and give you a higher performing computer regardless of the brand you choose. Make sure that you get a Ryzen processor in your computer next time you buy. All right, numbers to join us on the show today, 888-250-2091. Let's jump into Arlen. Welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This, Arlen?
Well, good morning, Thor. I always enjoy your show. I'm always amazed at your knowledge of your products.
Well, thank you.
I have a couple of issues. I haven't lost any meals or any sleep over either one of them, but I use a Mac most all the time, and I have 3 accounts I log every day. And if one of them I have to go in Chrome. Safari won't work on one of them. So if I open Chrome first and then go to Safari, Chrome always jumps back in, overrides what I'm trying to see. So I have to go up and click out of Chrome to get clear out of it. And then another little issue I have, I don't think this has ever happened in Safari. It's always in Chrome as far as I know. My mouse will disappear on me. Not my mouse. My cursor will disappear on me once in a while.
Okay.
And I just can't get it back. I kind of move everything around and things will jump around, but I can't find the cursor sometimes. It always comes back, but it takes a while to banging and jumping around to get it back there.
Do you happen to have a wireless mouse?
I do.
Okay. The newer wireless mice has a battery-saving feature. They actually turn off after a period of inactivity. It's a very short period of inactivity, and you can move them around. They don't wake up when you move them; they wake up when you click them. So that might be why.
So if I click it rather than kind of tap it on the desk or that's the trick to that then?
Yep, that's absolutely right. If you click the mouse rather than move it around, it'll come back to life. We're actually working on a set of wireless keyboard and mouse options for Schrock for a modular keyboard and mouse set. And the same thing is all the models that we tested have that click to enable feature because it makes the batteries last 6 months longer. So thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it. We got to take a quick break here. 888-250-2091 are the numbers to join us on the program. And we'll be back with more coming up next on Compute This.
If you can dream it, Schrock Interactive's website developers can make it happen. Refresh your website, automate sales and marketing, and grow your business today with Schrock Interactive. Every person listening to this broadcast has either experienced data loss or knows someone who has. When you think about it, you have a lot more data stored in many more places than you'd like to admit. Have you downloaded those videos from your phone, backed up the pictures on your iPad, or even tackled that sometimes daunting task of backing up your entire computer's hard drive? Most people just don't back up their stuff, and that's why Schrock Innovations has one of the most advanced data recovery centers in the Midwest. Equipped with the latest DDI data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Schrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Schrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive. And now Compute This Pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier. So take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys. Final segment of Compute This. Thanks for joining us on the program today. If you're new to the show, welcome aboard. If you're new to Facebook, if you're watching online at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, do myself and yourself a favor. Make sure you click like, and then it's really important to click the follow button. The follow button allows, whenever we go live, a lot of people have said specifically for the aftershock. So after the show is over on the radio, we do a Facebook Live little quickie show, we call it the aftershock. And people have said, I can't ever find it. Well, first off, it starts about 6 minutes or so. We have to wait for the news to clear and everything so that I can use the studio because I can't go on the air while they're on the air. So about 6 minutes after our show is over, the aftershock begins on Facebook. And if you're following Schrock, it will pop up as an alert that Schrock Innovations is currently live. And then you'll find it much easier that way. Just a quick pro tip there to help you out a little bit. 888-250-2091. Now, some of you out there have Samsung phones, and one of the things that happens from time to time when you have a phone, whether it's an iOS phone or an Android, is you get an update from Apple. If you have iOS, this is if there is a weakness in Android phones, it's the fact that if you have an iPhone, it doesn't matter what carrier you are with, Apple controls all the updates and they dictate when they are released. If you have a Samsung phone, if there's an update to the Android operating system, Samsung processes the update and pushes an update only to Samsung phones. LG pushes only to LG phones. So each different carrier needs to test and do different things. It can take some time to push those updates out. So at about a week to 2 weeks ago, every single Samsung phone going back to 2014, which should include just about every Samsung phone currently in use, if you're still using it. 6 years is a long time to have a phone. But if you have a Samsung phone, you got an update. And this update patched a zero-click vulnerability. What a zero-click vulnerability means, it means it's something that can take advantage of your device without you doing anything. You don't have to click on anything. You don't have to open anything. It's a zero-click, or in this case, a zero-tap vulnerability. So the bad guys could send a text message to your phone, and they have to send a text message to guess the location of something in the phone's memory. Super complicated stuff. We won't need to go into that. The bottom line is they can send the text message silently, and they can send anywhere to discover the accurate place in memory that they have to find in order to hack your phone, between 100 and 300 SMS messages, but they can silence the alerts. So you can be getting these messages in your phone and you wouldn't even know it. It's not buzzing, it's not dinging, and then the messages are self-deleting. So it's pretty slick, actually. And then once they discover where that place is in the memory of the phone, then they can hack your phone and do anything they want to it. And so Samsung released an update. It's really important, if your phone has been bugging you, to install a security update, that you do that. If you want to check and see if your phone needs a security update, you can swipe down from the top of the screen and tap on that little gear in the top right corner and scroll all the way to the bottom where it says about this phone or software update, depending on your version of Android, and you can check for a software update. If you have Semantic Endpoint from Schrock Innovations on your phone, which, oh my gosh, this is one of the reasons why you need to have it, it would have alerted you already that you're behind a version on your software and you need to update it. So if you don't have Endpoint on your phone, it's only $65 a year to have it on your phone, guys. And these kind of things, if you use your phone for business specifically as well, holy cow. This kind of a vulnerability could blast your entire device. It's not fun. 888-250-2091. Let's go back into those phones real quick. Mike, thanks for holding on the line. How can I help you on ComputeThis?
Good morning, Thor.
Good morning.
I got a kind of a strange problem. As I listen to you on my radio in the morning, I get a slight feedback, kind of like a tuning feedback.
Yeah.
All I have to do is go turn my desktop computer on, and that feedback goes away, and you come in nice and clear. Now I know the solution to the problem is turn the computer on. Can you explain to me what's happening?
Wow, that's a good question, because usually we hear the opposite, because there are some computer fans that can actually throw feedback that will block certain signals. It was kind of funny because we built a holiday special one year, and it's not like they advertise on the box. This fan will block AM radio signals. So we put these really high-end fans in the computers, and everybody took them home, and it happened to block KFOR 1240 in Lincoln, which is the station we're on in Lincoln. And it just blocked that one station. And literally, it would block it if you pulled into the garage with your car. All of a sudden, it was just like, you couldn't hear the station at all. So I've seen the opposite happen. Like when you turn the computer on, the station disappears. But I've never seen the side of it that says if the computer is turned off, the station doesn't come in until you turn the computer on. So I guess from a troubleshooting perspective, one of the the first things I always try to do is reduce the number of possibilities, eliminate possibilities, because whatever you're left with in the end must be what the cause is. So we already have some kind of a connection between the computer and this weird, alien interference. So the first thing I would try to do is unplug the power cord from the back of the computer, and then push the power button on the computer as if you're trying to turn it on, even though there's no power in the back. That's going to drain down all the capacitors. They're going to lose all their energy inside the computer trying to turn the computer on. Now the computer is effectively cold. It has no power in it. So if there is something in a sleep mode, for example, or something like that that's causing the issue, then you would notice the radio signal, I guess you say you turn the computer on, it comes in perfectly. Look for a change in the radio signal when you do that, because you've effectively removed the entire computer from the picture. Now, of course, the other things that you could try is making sure that your radio is not plugged into the same surge protector as the computer. That can create issues in grounding, for example, especially if the plug for the radio is not grounded and the computer is grounded, honestly. So that can cause some issues there as well. But that's the first thing I would do, is eliminate a few possibilities to see if you can narrow down the cause of it. But that would be a really interesting one to see in the service center, because the opposite is always true. Like, the fans will always mess with AM signals, which is why we don't have any AM radio in the service centers, because with 30 or 40 computers going in there, one of them is going to have one of those fans that screws it up, and you can never figure out who it is. But anyway, thank you very much for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. Let's jump into Cheryl's call. Cheryl, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Good morning, Thor.
Good morning.
I got my first computer from you 9 years ago.
Oh, thank you.
And whenever I would go, like, on the internet, I would have like 2 or 3 pages jump up all at one time. So I traded it in and got a Resolute.
Okay.
And now on my new computer, like if I'm at MSN.com and I go to look at the news, and it's got pictures with arrows at the side. When I go to click on an arrow, my page either goes up or goes down. And also, I have a wired mouse, and my mouse disappears often.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm trying to open up MSN.com here, because I have an ad blocker. I'm thinking that you're clicking on ads, actually, on the MSN page. So I'm going to open up MSN.com and look and see what's on the right side that has arrows on it.
It'll be like a big picture to tell about the news, and little dots under it so the pages can scroll over.
Oh, gotcha. So you're clicking on the picture.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And so when you click on the picture, what's happening exactly?
I go to click on the arrow, and the page either jumps up or jumps down. And sometimes I have to try to click a couple times before I can finally make a connection, and the picture's not going up and down.
Okay, so the arrows cause the picture to scroll left and right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to move to the next picture?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, it's possible. I know you said you have a wired mouse. We might want to try disabling the touchpad on the laptop while you're using the wired mouse.
It's not a laptop, it's a desktop.
Oh my gosh, you said a Resolute. I'm sorry.
I thought that's what it was called.
The Resolute's the laptop. The Boundless is the
I'm
desktop.
Sorry.
That's all right. No. I was like, did I get it wrong? No, so that's fine. So it's a desktop, and so it shouldn't be jumping around. So what I'd like to do on this one, obviously, Cheryl, because you got that computer from us, it has a warranty on it. So let's give us a call in the service center, and let's get connected over the Schrock desk so that we can see the problem that's happening, to find out why. Because it shouldn't be jumping around weirdly. Because I'm on the MSN page right now. I'm not getting any kind of jumping or weirdness going on with the MSN page. It's scrolling just fine for me. The pictures are all sized the same, so everything is going good there. So I'm wondering if it might be the fact that your monitor is very old and your resolution is set super huge. Because if it's set at a really high, or I should say a really low resolution, it makes all the pictures way bigger. And sometimes that can break the formatting of a website that wasn't intended to be viewed on an old monitor. So that's another possibility, but we can check that for you over the Schrock desk. So Cheryl, give us a call in the service center today, whichever service center is closest to you. We're open from 10 to 8 on Saturday and Sunday from noon to 5. And let us do a quick Schrock desk session. There won't be any charge or anything like that. It won't mess up your warranty. We just want to see what's going on, so it'll be a lot easier to address it that way. Thanks for the call, Cheryl. And we do have you in the drawing as well for that $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. One program that we haven't mentioned for a while here on the program is Secure Updater. Secure Updater is another piece of software that we make over at Schrock Innovations that's intended to act as a companion for your antivirus software. It downloads and installs updates to all the common programs like Flash, Java, Adobe Reader, things that we all have on our computers, but we never update them, that are critical to keeping your computer secure. So make sure you check out secureupdater.com. You can get a free copy at secureupdater.com. It's free for 14 days. No tricks or, asking for a credit card and hoping you forget to cancel any garbage like that. It's all straight up and pretty straightforward. All right, guys. Today's winner, $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate, is Arlen. Congratulations. Addie will get that out to you tomorrow. And stay tuned on Facebook for the Aftershock coming up in about 6 minutes. We'll see you here next weekend for another exciting edition of Compute This.
Fueled by Hy-Vee, home of hot deals and hundreds of